Hey everyone, and welcome back to Audiobook Radio. It's so great to be connecting with you again. Lately I've been reflecting a lot on something really important, something we all grapple with, helping others. It's in our nature, isn't it? That warm feeling you get when you lend a hand, offer support, or just listen to someone in need. It's genuinely one of the best feelings, like a little spark of sunshine in your day. But, and there's always a but, isn't there? Life, as we know, isn't always sunshine and rainbows. And when it comes to helping, well, let's just say I've learned a few hard lessons along the way. Lessons about where to direct that sunshine and where, sadly, it might just get swallowed up in shadows. Today, we're diving into a bit of a tough truth. A truth I wish someone had told me sooner, and one that I think can really change things for the better in your life. We're talking about the 7 types of people you might need to stop helping. Now, before you think I'm turning into some kind of cold-hearted Scrooge, hear me out. This isn't about becoming selfish. It's about being smart. It's about protecting your energy, your kindness, and your precious time so you can actually make a real difference where it truly counts. Because honestly, pouring yourself into situations where you're just being drained, it helps no one, least of all you. Think of it like this. You can't pour from an empty cup, right? And your cup, my friend, is valuable. So, are you ready to face this truth with me? Let's get into it. Okay, let's start with number 1, the energy drainers. Oh man, we've all encountered these people, haven't we? It's like they have this uncanny ability to suck the life right out of you without even trying. You give, and you give, and you give, and it's never enough. Seriously, never enough. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You pour in your time, your energy, your kindness, your patience, sometimes even your hard-earned cash, and yet they're still reaching out, asking for more, leaving you feeling utterly depleted. I remember back in college, I had this friend. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah was lovely, really she was, but anytime she called, it was always a crisis. Lost her keys again, needed help moving again, boyfriend drama again, and being the good friend I thought I should be, I was always there. Late night calls, emergency errands, you name it. I was running myself ragged trying to be supportive. And what did I get in return? Well, radio silence until the next crisis, and honestly, a growing sense of resentment. It hit me one day when I was completely exhausted from helping her move furniture for the 3rd time that semester. And she didn't even offer me a glass of water. It was like I was just expected to be there to give, without any consideration for my own needs or energy. These energy drainers, they don't always mean to be toxic. I truly believe that. Sometimes they're just so caught up in their own stuff, they're completely oblivious to the impact they're having on you. They see you as strong, as capable, as someone who can handle it all. And because you do have a good heart, because you do want to help, you keep showing up, you keep giving that little bit extra, thinking, maybe this time they'll appreciate it. Maybe this time they'll actually take my advice. But often they don't. And the more you give, the less they seem to try for themselves. Here's the tough love part. It is not your job to carry people who refuse to stand on their own 2 feet. You can offer a hand up, absolutely. You can encourage, you can uplift, but you can't do the walking for them. And if helping someone is consistently costing you your peace, your joy, your mental well-being, that's not help. That's self-sacrifice. And trust me, you cannot keep sacrificing yourself for people who don't value what you bring to the table. Think about it. When you're constantly drained, what happens to the people who truly need you? The ones who would genuinely appreciate your guidance, who are ready to take action, who are willing to grow. If you're too exhausted from pouring into those who won't even try, you'll have nothing left for those who genuinely deserve your help. You'll miss out on opportunities to support people who would actually take what you give and turn it into something meaningful. So, start paying attention. Notice how you feel after spending time with certain people. Do you feel inspired, uplifted, motivated? Or do you feel tired, anxious, emotionally heavy? That feeling, that right there, is your warning sign. Your energy is precious, your time is valuable, and your kindness, it's meant to make a difference, not just disappear into a void. Body type 2, chronic excuse makers. All right, let's move on to number 2, the chronic excuse makers. These folks, oh boy, they always have a reason, an excuse, a whole elaborate story about why they can't move forward, why they can't succeed, why they're stuck. And at first you feel for them, right? Compassion kicks in. You think maybe they just need a little push, a little support, someone to believe in them. So you offer advice, you encourage them, you lay out the steps they need to take, clear as day. But no matter how straightforward the path, no matter how simple the solution, they always come back with another excuse. I want a better job, they say. But when you show them job postings, suddenly they're not qualified enough. I want to start a business, they declare. But when you offer resources and connections, now isn't the right time. I want to heal, to grow, to break free from my struggles, they proclaim. But when you suggest therapy, classes, a new routine, there's always, without fail, an excuse waiting in the wings. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket again. Except this time, the bucket isn't just leaky, it's actively pushing the water away. I once worked with someone, let's call him Mark, who was perpetually about to launch his dream project. For months, it was always next week, after I get this done, once the stars align. I spent hours helping him refine his ideas, build a website, even practice his pitch. But every time we got close to launch, a new obstacle would appear. A technical glitch, a family emergency, a sudden lack of inspiration. It was exhausting. And after a while, I realized something. Mark wasn't actually committed to his dream. He was committed to the idea of his dream. The excuses were his way of staying comfortable, of avoiding the risk and effort that real change requires. Here's the harsh reality. You cannot help someone who is more committed to their excuses than to their growth. You can't push someone who refuses to take even the tiniest step for themselves. These people aren't stuck because life is against them. They've built a wall of excuses so high they can't even see over it anymore. And the more you try to push them forward, the more they'll pull you down into their circle of stagnation. Helping a chronic excuse maker doesn't just drain your energy. It can actually start to plant seeds of doubt in your own mind. When you're constantly around someone who believes progress is impossible, their negativity can rub off on you. You might find yourself second-guessing your own dreams, losing momentum because you're carrying the weight of their inaction. And here's a tough pill to swallow. Some people don't want solutions. They want sympathy. They want to stay in that place where they can say, "Look how hard my life is," without ever doing the work to change it. They mistake pity for support and comfort for progress. If you're not careful, you can spend years trying to motivate someone who doesn't want to be motivated, trying to fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop offering help altogether. It means you learn to recognize when your help is falling on deaf ears. It means you learn to step back when someone repeatedly ignores your advice. It means you stop lighting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Real change, genuine change, happens when a person decides deep down that they are ready. No amount of pushing from you can create that readiness. It has to come from within them. And sometimes, the best thing you can do for a chronic excuse maker is to let them sit with their excuses. Let them feel the weight of their own inaction. Sometimes, people need to hit a point where their excuses are no longer comfortable, where the pain of staying stuck outweighs the fear of change. So if you find yourself constantly helping someone who always has a but or a what if for every solution you offer, it's time to pull back. Let them figure out what they truly want. Let them sit with the reality of their choices. And remember this, you are not responsible for someone else's refusal to grow. You are not responsible for dragging someone who refuses to walk. You deserve to pour your energy into people who are ready to rise, into people who are willing to take that first step, into people who don't just talk about change, but are ready to work for it. Step back from the chronic excuse makers and pour your heart into those who are ready to move. Because your time, your wisdom, and your energy are far too valuable to waste on someone who isn't willing to help themselves. Body type 3, ungrateful people. Now, let's talk about number 3, ungrateful people. There's something so beautiful about helping others, about giving from the heart, about showing up for someone in their time of need. It really is. But there's also a painful truth that many of us learn the hard way. Not everyone appreciates what you do for them. Some people will take your kindness for granted. They'll expect your help without even a flicker of gratitude, as if it's something they are entitled to, rather than something you are offering out of your own generosity and love. And if you keep giving to these people, you will start to feel the weight of their ingratitude like a heavy burden on your soul. Ungrateful people are, in my experience, some of the most emotionally draining people to help. Not because they'll physically harm you, but because they'll leave you questioning your own worth, your own value. You could move mountains for them, and they'd still complain that you didn't do it fast enough. You could sacrifice your time, your resources, your energy, and they wouldn't even say thank you. Instead, they'll just ask, "What else can you do for me?" It's never enough. No matter how much you give, they will always expect more, more, more. Think back to a time you went above and beyond for someone, and they barely even acknowledged it. Maybe you helped a colleague with a huge project, working late nights and weekends, and all they said was, "Oh, thanks, I guess." Or maybe you lent a friend money when they were in a tight spot, and they never even mentioned paying you back, let alone expressing gratitude. It stings, doesn't it? It makes you wonder, why did I even bother? At first, you might not even notice the lack of gratitude. You might tell yourself, "I'm helping because it's the right thing to do. I don't need a thank you. I just want to do good." And that's a noble sentiment, truly. But over time, you start to realize that true kindness thrives on appreciation. When someone genuinely values your help, you can feel it. You see it in their actions. They don't take advantage of you. They don't make you feel like your kindness is an obligation. They acknowledge your efforts, they respect your time, and they certainly don't make you feel used. But the ungrateful ones? They have a way of making you feel like you're never doing enough. They will guilt trip you when you set boundaries. They'll act offended if you say no. They'll treat your generosity like it's something they deserve, not something they should appreciate. And if you keep pouring into them, you will find yourself feeling empty, frustrated, and maybe even resentful. You might even start to wonder if you're the problem. Maybe I'm expecting too much. You might think, maybe I should just give without wanting anything in return. And while it's true that real generosity isn't about receiving in a transactional sense, it is also true that every human being deserves respect. You are not a machine. You are not a resource to be exploited. You have emotions, you have needs, and you deserve to feel appreciated. So, what do you do when you recognize an ungrateful person in your life? You stop overgiving. You stop bending over backward for someone who doesn't acknowledge your effort. You stop believing that if you just give a little more, they will finally see your value. Because the truth is, some people will never see it. Not because you're not valuable, but because they've conditioned themselves to believe that they are owed your kindness. And when you stop helping these people, something powerful happens. You free yourself. You open up space for people who truly appreciate you. You give yourself permission to invest in relationships that are balanced, where kindness is reciprocated, where love flows both ways. You stop feeling drained because you're no longer giving to people who don't respect what you offer. So the next time you feel unappreciated, the next time someone acts like your help is their right instead of a privilege, step back. Pay attention to how they treat you when you stop giving. Do they still care about you? Do they still check in on you? Or were they only there for what you could do for them? The answer will tell you everything you need to know. And when you recognize the truth, have the courage to walk away. Because your kindness deserves to be cherished, not taken for granted. Body type 4, manipulators. Let's move on to number 4. And this one is a big one. Manipulators. These are people who don't just want help, they want control. They don't come to you for genuine guidance, they come to use you. Their needs aren't genuine cries for support, but carefully crafted strategies to manipulate your time, your emotions, and your generosity. These are the masters of guilt tripping, the experts at twisting your kindness into an obligation, the ones who make you believe that if you don't come through for them, you're the bad person. And if you're not careful, you will find yourself caught in their web, giving and giving until you have absolutely nothing left. Manipulators are masters of emotional puppetry. They know exactly how to play the game. They know how to make you feel responsible for their problems. They know how to make you second-guess yourself, how to make you feel like you owe them something when in reality, you don't. They use emotions as a weapon. They might guilt trip you, reminding you of that one time you let them down, even if it was years ago and completely unintentional. They might play the victim, making it seem like the whole world is against them, and you're their only hope, their shining knight in shining armor. Or they might flatter you, showering you with compliments, making you feel special, chosen, like you're the only one who truly understands them. Oh, you're so kind, so understanding, so much better than everyone else. It's all designed to lower your defenses and make you more likely to comply with their demands. But the moment you stop serving their needs, the moment you try to set a boundary, their tone changes dramatically. Suddenly, they are distant, cold, even angry. How could you do this to me? After everything I've done for you, even if they've done absolutely nothing for you. And that's when you realize the chilling truth. Your relationship was never about genuine connection. It was about what they could get from you. Helping a manipulator never leads to anything positive. You could give them everything, your time, your money, your emotional support, your very soul, and they would still want more. You could be there for them 100 times, and the one time you say no, they will act like you've abandoned them, like you're the most selfish person on the planet. They are not looking for solutions. They are looking for control. And the more you give, the more power they have over you. One of the most insidious things about manipulators is how they make you feel. They don't just take from you physically or financially, they drain you emotionally, psychologically. You start to feel anxious around them, constantly walking on eggshells, afraid of disappointing them, afraid of triggering their wrath. You start to feel guilty for setting boundaries, for saying no, for choosing yourself, even in the smallest ways. You start to wonder if you are being selfish, when in reality, all you are doing is protecting your own peace, your own sanity, your own well-being. You have to recognize when someone is not genuinely seeking help, but is instead playing a game. Look at their actions, not their words. Do they only come to you when they need something? Do they make you feel guilty when you try to step away? Do they dismiss your needs while expecting you to prioritize theirs? If the answer to any of these questions is a resounding yes, then you are very likely dealing with a manipulator. And the only way to win against a manipulator is to stop playing their game altogether. That means setting firm boundaries and sticking to them, no matter how much they protest. That means understanding that their reaction to your limits is not your responsibility. That means refusing to let guilt control you, even when they lay it on thick. Because a manipulator will always try to make you feel bad for choosing yourself. But that doesn't mean you are wrong. It means you are finally seeing the truth. You are not responsible for fixing people who only want to use you. You are not obligated to keep pouring into someone who is manipulating your kindness. Real help, real love, real support comes from a place of mutual respect, from a balanced give and take. And if someone is only there to take, then they were never really there for you in the first place. So when you recognize a manipulator in your life, have the strength to walk away. Let them find someone else to use. Let them learn that control is not the same as love. And most importantly, remind yourself, again and again, that you deserve relationships built on honesty, respect, and real connection, not manipulation and guilt. Body type 5, repetitive complainers. Finally, let's get to number 5, the repetitive complainers. Oh, these are the people who don't actually want help. They just want to complain. They come to you over and over and over again with the same problems, the same frustrations, the same stories of how life has been so unfair to them. And because you care, because you have a good heart, you listen, you offer advice, you try to help them see solutions, to find a glimmer of hope. You give them your time, your energy, your wisdom. But no matter what you say, they don't change. They don't take action. They don't even try. Instead, they keep coming back again and again with the same complaints, expecting you to listen, to sympathize, to essentially be their emotional dumping ground. These repetitive complainers, helping them is one of the most emotionally exhausting things you can possibly do. At first, you might not even realize it's happening. You think they just need someone to talk to, someone to encourage them, someone to understand. And that's a lovely instinct to have. But after a while, you start to notice a pattern. They don't actually want advice. They want attention. They don't want solutions. They want validation of their misery. They don't actually want things to get better, because, in a strange way, complaining has become their comfort zone. It's how they connect with others, how they get attention, maybe even how they avoid taking responsibility for their own lives. Think about that friend who always calls to vent about their awful boss, or their terrible dating life, or their never-ending financial woes. You listen patiently, you offer suggestions, you try to boost their spirits, but the next time they call, it's the exact same complaints, often word for word. It's like Groundhog Day, but instead of Bill Murray, you're trapped in a cycle of negativity. The problem with constantly helping a complainer is that it just drains you dry, emotionally and mentally. You invest your energy into trying to help them see a way forward, but they never take it. They nod, they agree, they might even say, "You're right," but the next time you see them, they're stuck in the exact same place, mired in the same negativity. And over time, you start to feel frustrated, even resentful. You start to realize that while you're pouring effort into them, they are doing absolutely nothing to help themselves. And here's the real danger. If you're not careful, their negativity can start to pull you down with them. When you constantly listen to someone who only focuses on the bad, it starts to affect your own mindset. You might find yourself feeling more drained, more anxious, even less motivated in your own life. Because negativity is contagious, like a virus for your spirit. When you surround yourself with people who only see problems, you start to see problems too. When you give your time to people who never look for solutions, you start to feel stuck in their energy, in their victim mentality. You have to recognize when someone is venting as a way to release emotions, which is healthy and normal, and when they're using complaining as a lifestyle, as their default mode of operating. There's a huge, crucial difference between someone who is going through a genuinely rough time and needs to process their emotions, and someone who thrives on negativity, who seems to actively cultivate it. The first person needs support and understanding. The second person, sadly, often refuses to grow, refuses to take responsibility, and is content to wallow in their complaints indefinitely. And the truth is, you cannot change someone who is committed to their complaints. No matter how much advice you give, no matter how many brilliant solutions you offer, they will always find a reason why nothing works, why their situation is uniquely hopeless. The best thing you can do when dealing with a repetitive complainer is to step out of their cycle of negativity. Stop engaging in their endless loop of complaints. Stop offering advice when you know they won't take it. Stop trying to fix problems they have no intention of solving. And most importantly, stop letting their negativity drain your precious energy. When they come to you with the same old complaints, try shifting the conversation. Ask them, "Okay, I hear you. So what are you going to do about it?" See how they react. If they immediately dismiss the idea of action, if they deflect with more excuses, then you know they aren't really looking for help. They're looking for someone to carry their emotional baggage, someone to validate their victimhood. And that, my friend, is absolutely not your responsibility. You deserve to be around people who uplift you, who inspire you, who take responsibility for their own lives, who actively seek growth instead of settling for endless excuses. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being there for people, with offering support and compassion. But there is something deeply wrong with allowing yourself to be trapped in someone else's cycle of negativity, with sacrificing your own well-being for someone who isn't even trying to help themselves. Protect your energy, set healthy boundaries, and always remember this: your time, your support, your precious kindness, it should go to people who are ready to change, who are willing to move forward, not to those who refuse to even take the first step. So there you have it, 5 types of people you might need to consider stepping back from helping. Energy drainers, chronic excuse makers, ungrateful people, manipulators, and repetitive complainers. Recognizing these patterns isn't about being unkind or turning your back on people in need. It's about being wise, being discerning, and most importantly, being kind to yourself. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. And your well-being, your energy, your kindness, these are valuable resources that need to be directed where they can actually make a positive impact, both for you and for others. If this resonated with you, if you've recognized some of these patterns in your own life, please give this video a thumbs up. Share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And if you're new here to Audiobook Radio, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on more insights and reflections to help you navigate this beautiful, messy thing we call life. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care, and remember to take care of yourself first.